Branded just got the biggest upgrade you can imagine in Master Duel. So let's go over this deck and some combos, because this deck is just going to be ridiculous now. If you still need a beautiful playmat, go to zerodamagegaming.com and use the code Solemn for a discount. There's also beautiful deck boxes. So for the deck, we got a lot of new toys. There's a lot of experimenting to be done. Of course, I have played this deck a lot in the TCG, so this list should already be pretty solid, but of course, Master Duel is still a different ball game. I'm sure there's still going to be some optimizing we want to do. So first of all, we start off with 2 Despian Tragedy. This card, weirdly enough, got better. Thanks to Cartesia, Tragedy is now very often gonna be an even better searcher for Aluber. So I wanted to run 2 for that reason. I do not want to brick on it though, but it's still pretty solid. Like this plus your deployment or this plus opening is always gonna get you an Aluber. Now, of course, opening can already get you a new Aluber, but at that point, you just get a free ad-lib. And there's actually gonna be a lot of branded fusion combos where you won't be sending Despian Tragedy from deck anymore. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Now we have triple Max T. This is very different from TCG, but this card is broken, so we have to play it. Triple Ash, because Ash stops Max T. Then we have Fairy Tale Snow. This is again different from a TCG. This card is absolutely insane, and so I still want to play it. However, our primary combos won't often send it anymore. So if you start noticing, damn, I kind of brick on this card sometimes, and I'm not really sending it off branded fusion that often anyway, you might want to cut this. Still though, playing with this card, it's just, oh, it's so ridiculous. Then we have 2 Fallen of Albas, of course, required for all of our combos. In the TCG, we saw people playing 3 of this, but we don't have Kashtira yet, so we don't have to play 3 just yet. But don't worry, that's coming soon, my friends. Then Master Duel's gonna really fucking suck. Then we have 2 Aluber, the Jester of Despia. Of course, we want to max this out. It's semi-limited for now, but it searches our branded fusion. We have 1 Mercurier. This card is just a hand trap that we can search with branded Lost. And spoiler alert, we are gonna have branded Lost on our field so much more often thanks to the new cards. Combos coming very soon, at the end of the video. Then we have Kit. This card is just another Aluber. I feel like this deck kind of misses starters, because in the TCG we had like triple opening, triple Aluber at the time, and so we had like way more starters. So now we kind of need to run Kit. If you want, you could put in an extra gold sarcophagus into this deck, because you could banish the Mercurier and then search your Kit, or you could banish Tragedy and search Aluber. It doesn't really feel amazing, but it is what it is. Then we have Cartesia. This card changes the game. So let me quickly go over it, because this is definitely a new card. It says if you control Fallen of Albas or it is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. Fallen of Albas is often going to be in your graveyard, so this is often going to be a special summon. But the more important part, during the main phase, quick effect, you can fusion summon 1 level 8 or higher fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. So this is a quick effect polymerization when it is on your board. That is insane. Just insane. Especially because there's a fusion that uses her as material. You're gonna see. It's crazy. Then during the end phase, if a fusion monster was sent to your graveyard this turn, read always, welcome to Branded, you can add this card from the graveyard to your hand. So this is endless recursion. You will keep on getting her back. Once she goes to the graveyard and you are playing Branded, this card just keeps coming back. It's free endless value, free endless material. And because there's a fusion that lists her, fusion deployment can special summon her. Then we have Saranir. So this is a new Bestial. We already kind of know because a lot of people are hyping it up. It's basically a DD Crow on steroids, but this card also has another effect. It says if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send 1 Bestial monster or 1 branded spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard. That is crazy, because you can dump stuff like Branded Retribution, and then Branded Retribution can add you cards from your graveyard back to your hand. Oh, there's also an argument that you might want to run even more Bestials in this deck. Up to you if you find that worth it. This is kind of based on like the YCS Las Vegas 2nd place list, and of course that didn't have tier in the format, but Branded really doesn't have a lot of room in the deck these days. That is also the reason why I'm actually playing 60 card Branded myself right now, but again, that deck profile will be coming soon. This is basically like the lean version, you know, I want to play a clean 40. I don't want to play too many hand traps because Ash and Maxi are just required in general, but yes, there will be a bigger version coming very soon. Then we have a Gimmick Puppet. What is this? Gimmick Puppet, ho ho ho! So basically, this is a bullshit auto win, and this card was not viable in Branded on Master Duel for a long time because we didn't have Cartesia and Grand Guignol, but now that we do have Cartesia and Grand Guignol, we actually have access to a literal FTK. So in Branded, basically, this card will be summoned to our opponent's field, and then this card says if this card is special summoned, you cannot special summon any monsters for the rest of this turn except Gimmick Puppet monsters. So your opponent is locked into Gimmick Puppet monsters, so they cannot play the game. This is like a side lock, this is a bullshit win con, this is disgusting. If you do not want to play this, then cut it. You know, you can very easily cut Branded Expulsion and Gimmick Puppet for a Bestial Magnamut and a Bestial Druis Worm if you don't want to be disgusting. But if you do want to be disgusting and you want to get some free wins, well, here he is, the disgusting fucking Gimmick Puppet. Now, you could also argue this card does get worse if a lot of people are playing a bunch of Bestials. But I don't care, because this gets free wins. Then we have Albion, that's always part of branded decks. I mean, you can search it with branded lost, you get yourself a free draw. It's also a Fallen of Albaz in the graveyard, so it lets you special summon Cartesia, which also comes up. It can also dump an Albaz to the graveyard, so you can special summon Cartesia. Then we have Ad Libitum. This is still just part of the Despia package, still a lot of good recursion. Then we have Lubellion. This is our boy. This card says cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand or graveyard by tributing one level 6 or higher Dark Dragon monster. Guess what Dark Dragon monster we are gonna be tributing? We are tributing Albion. And that way, we can just special summon this guy when dumping him off Branded Fusion. Then you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, add one Bestial monster from your deck to your hand. You don't really care, though this does give you like a free Bestial against your opponent if you do end up drawing it. But the most important part of this card, during your main phase, you can place one branded continuous spell or trap from your deck face up on your field. What is a good branded continuous spell or trap? Of course, it's Branded Lost. So because of this, Branded Fusion will now always put a Branded Lost onto the field, which is absolutely cracked. Now we have Foolish Burial. This will be able to send the Despian Tragedy, which then gets us our Aluber. Again, I just feel like this deck is missing starters. And now because of the Bestial package, it can actually dump more. It could also dump something like a Saranir to that way put a Retribution in the graveyard. That way we can, you know, still have something useful going on with the Foolish Burial. Then we have Triple Fusion Deployment. This card can special summon a monster who is listed as fusion material. So you can literally special summon Cartesia because you have Grand Guignol in your extra deck, and you can special summon Albaz because you have, well, all the fusions are listing Albaz. So that's absolutely crazy, going second and going first. This just creates so many combos, and it lets you dodge infinite impermanence as well. Very important. How does this let you dodge infinite impermanence? Basically, you activate Fusion Deployment, special summoning Cartesia, and if you then go normal summon Aluber, activate Aluber. Now, if they try to imperm the Aluber, you can chain with Cartesia, and then Cartesia and Aluber vanish. Aluber still gets its search, and their imperm basically doesn't have a target anymore. So that's absolutely cracked. If they then hold the imperm for longer, and let's say you resolve Branded Fusion, you go into like Lubellion. If they then try to imperm the Lubellion, you can still just get rid of your Cartesia and your Lubellion, and again, the imperm doesn't do anything. So imperm is basically like a dead card thanks to Fusion Deployment, which is absolutely crazy as well. Then we have two Triple Tactics Talent. This is just a solid card like going second, going first. You know, check out your opponent's hand. Is there something useful there? Yes or no? Steal something, draw two cards. Like, this card is just crazy, especially against Tier Element, because they're always going to try to play on your turn. Then we have Triple Branded Fusion, the heart and soul of the deck. You know, you have to play 3. Then when you have Branded Lost, this card just tells your opponent you cannot play the game, Lamao bye. Then we have 2 Called by the Grave. This is to stop Maxi, because Maxi is broken. And also Ash, of course, because this deck doesn't like Ash. Now, I will say this deck does play a true Ash much better now, thanks to the new cards, but still, you don't want to get Ash, so we have Call by for that. Cross out, similar story. Then we have 2 Branded Opening, because of course it gets us our Aluber. We have Branded in red, because we do actually still do Branded in red combos. I mean, if the Gimmick Puppet resolves, you have auto 1 anyway, but still, you know, you like to have the option. Then we have Branded Expulsion. This is the bullshit FTK. Again, like, if you don't want to play it, just cut the Expulsion, cut the Gimmick Puppet, put in Bestial Magnamut and Druis Worm. I won't judge, but I mean, free W's, why not, right? Then we have Branded Retribution. This card is part of some of the combos with Saranir. Like, usually Saranir, if it goes to graveyard and you send the Retribution can then add something back to your hand, and you feel really great about that. Now, for the extra deck, I'm gonna be real, a lot of cards aren't super required in here. Like the Mud Dragon, it's cute, but you don't really need it. The Dragostepelia does come up a fair bit. The Titanic Lad is cute, but you don't really need it. The Brygrant, the Glory Dragon is cute, but you don't really need it. Sprint, I think, is actually a bit better, because this does play around Nibiru, because you can, like, send this with Mirror Jade, and then special summon a kit, and then, you know, do some stuff that way. But overall, it's not going to come up super often. Then we have 2 Albion. This is very crucial, of course, because it's part of, like, every combo, and also you send it with Mirror Jade, get your follow-up, and so forth. 1 Quiritis. This card actually became a bit better thanks to our new friend Grand Guignol, but more on that later. Then we have the 2 Mirror Jade, because it's our boy. Mirror Jade is the reason this deck is, like, a thing, right? Mirror Jade is, such a beautiful boss monster. Check out this playmat, by the way, and this deck box. Buy that. ZeroDamageGaming.com. Use the code Solemn. I actually use these as mousepads. Like, right now, I am playing on this mousepad right here. I know it's giant, but I just like to have my room room, you know? And you can do that too. Use the code Solemn. Then we have our Lubellion. I really want to have 2, honestly. It doesn't come up often, but sometimes I'm like, fuck, I lock myself out. So if you want to play 2, you can. There's definitely room. Then there's Albalanados. Not the greatest card. Again, it's cool to get like follow-up to search a branded fusion. And the reason that is going to come up more often is because Albion now is actually going to be sent in every single combo line. So if Mirror Jade then sends your second Albion, sure, you can like shuffle it back with Lubellion, but you still don't feel super great. So like being able to send Albalanados, get us our branded fusion is pretty solid. Now the card that changes everything, Grand Guignol. And I'm actually so mind blown that I got a fucking royal finish. Like I didn't pull this. If you check out my Don't Waste Gems video, I couldn't pull this to save my life. So I click generate and it's just made. This is like one of my favorite cards in branded and I just got a royal finish. Sorry, I'm super excited. So this card says it needs a Blazing Cartesia, the Virtuous, and a light or dark monster. Note that almost any card in this deck is light or dark, so this is easy. And Cartesia, you basically have 5 copies thanks to fusion deployment. So this card is super easy to make in a deck. And this says, if this card is fusion summoned, you can send 1 level 6 or higher light or dark monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. Deck or extra deck. This can send the Gimmick Puppet from the deck, which gets you your bullshit FTK lock, but it can also send some of your powerful fusions from the extra deck that have special effects. So you can send like an Albion to get your branded fusion to your hand, to get your branded in red even if you want. You can send your Albalanados to get your branded fusion. You can send your Sprint. You can send your branded Ashen Dragon, whatever the hell. You can send anything and then get a bunch of value from it. So that is its main effect. That's the most important part. But it has another effect. If a monster is special summoned by your opponent's activated monster effect, except during the damage step, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, special summon 1 Dogmatica monster from your deck or 1 Despia monster from your extra deck. This means if this card is on your field or in the graveyard, if your opponent's activated monster effect makes something, you can special summon a Quirites. Now, alternatively, you could also special summon a Proskenion, which is also a really solid interrupt. Again, we have room in this extra deck. If you want, you can definitely get rid of like a Titanic Lad and get yourself a Proskenion in here. And you just have like a free beast that just stops your opponent. Like Quirites being able to stop your opponent from OTKing you, and then you just OTK him back because this deck has endless follow-up is crazy. Proskenion stealing your opponent's best monsters is crazy. And because it's also in the graveyard, this card is like really hard to get rid of. Like your opponent needs to waste a Bestial just to get rid of this guy. Because otherwise, like if they just kill him, he's still in grave. He's still gonna get his little trick. So this card, really, really incredible. This card honestly changes branded forever. Then we have Rindbrum. This is another new one. Basically, this card you're not gonna make super often. It really gets better once Kashtira comes out. Once Kashtira comes out, this just outs the whole Kashtira board, which is why people were playing like branded, and then branded fusion was always killing all of Kashtira. But for now, you're not gonna make him very often. He's still a solid negate, but sending him is crazy because in the graveyard, this card gets this effect. During your opponent's turn, while this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, target 1 Fawn of Albas in your graveyard, special summon either that monster or this card and banish the other. So in your opponent's turn, you can special summon a Fallen of Albas, who will then fusion with your opponent's board, giving yourself a free Mirror Jade. So that thing is also very crazy. And then finally, Guardian Chimera, the same old we can do with Branded in red. So now let me show you some combo. I know I've been rambling for a bit, but I just really wanted to give you like the information with the new cards and so forth. Okay, so we have a hand right here. This is a cracked hand, I'm gonna be honest, but it doesn't matter. Every hand is fucking cracked. This is the best deck. Okay, so we're gonna do Cartesia. I'm gonna be real, this deck is probably not the best one. I think actually Branded here, something is like better. So now we normal summon the Aluber after fusion deploying into Cartesia. And now if they try to imperm this, we can literally just dodge it, but we're not going to do it right now. We're just going to do Aluber. So then Aluber is going to get us our branded fusion. Now we're going to activate the branded fusion. And with branded fusion, we are going to make Albion, actually. So we are going to send our Bestial Lubellion and our Fallen of Albas right here. And it's going to special summon. And then we're going to Chainlink 1, activate Albion. Chainlink 2, Cartesia. And then now we're going to make a Grand Guignol out of our Aluber and our Cartesia, giving us the Grand Guignol. Again, new fusion, crazy powerful stuff. Then our Albion is going to resolve. And we're going to make a Lubellion. So Lubellion is going to get rid of our Aluber. Luber and our Fallen of Albas, specialing the Lubellion right here. And then we're going to go Lubellion 1, discarding opening this time. Doesn't really matter, but you know. And then activate Grand Guignol. Now, our Grand Guignol is gonna dump our Gimmick Puppet to the graveyard. And our Lubellion is going to make a Mirror Jade out of himself and the Albas. Then we special summon our Mirror Jade right here. Very powerful stuff. And now we're basically set up, because now we activate this. We're gonna Bistia Lubellion, getting rid of our Albion, give ourselves the Lubellion. Boom. And you know the special thing right here? Remember, normally when you play Branded, you always have to activate this annoying Mirror Jade to be able to send the Albion from your extra deck so that it's in the graveyard to give yourself a Branded card. This time, because of the Lubellion here, because of our brand new card, the Albion is in our graveyard and we haven't activated Mirror Jade yet. So now we are freely able to add another Branded spell or trap onto our field, and we still have our Mirror Jade banished. So now we're going to activate the Bistia Lubellion, and we are able to place the Branded Lost right here. So that's one more form of interruption. And then we can set this, and then we go to the end phase. And in the end phase, our Albion is going to activate, and it's going to set our Branded Expulsion to the field. Now, right now, our Branded in red doesn't actually have good targets. I'm going to leave our Cartesia in graveyard, because that way we will be able to Branded Expulsion her to our side of the field. So she can just stay there, and an Expulsion will special summon her to our side. So now, okay, they did something. You can also do this just in draw phase. You activate the Branded Expulsion right here. We're going to tribute our Grand Guignol, and we're going to special summon. Well, this time we actually want a Luber, but okay. We're going to special summon our Aluber and the Gimmick Puppet. All right. So to our side of the field, we special summon the Aluber, and to our opponent's side of the field, we special summon the Gimmick Puppet. And so the Gimmick Puppet now activated, and this means our opponent is unable to special summon except for Gimmick Puppets. But who the hell plays Gimmick Puppets? So then we activate our Aluber, and our Aluber is going to add another Branded Fusion to our... Now, in our end phase, we kind of should have added the Cartesia just in case. But so now, basically, look what we have. We still have a Branded in red. We still have a Cartesia, which should come back to us. We have a Branded in lost, so they can't really respond to anything. We have everything. And even though, like, I just talked about all of these things we have, don't forget, they are Gimmick Puppet locked. Nothing we have matters. They are dead. It's over. This Gimmick Puppet lock is so bullshit that Branded Expulsion, actually the trap we used just now, got banned in the TCG, just to stop that from happening. So that's why this is absolute bullshit. Now, I will say, in tier format, Gimmick Puppet isn't as disgusting, because if they have like a Tearlament Scream, maybe a Halfness and so forth, they will still attempt to play in our turn. So it's slightly more fair in tier format. But any other deck, if they don't stop Gimmick Puppet, like if they don't fully stop your combo, they're getting puppet locked and it's over. It's GG. That's how crazy this card is. And again, if tier doesn't have an exact amount of specific cards to play on our turn, then they also don't have anything. So this is absolutely cracked. This is the combo. Now, of course, there's like more things you can do. You don't necessarily have to even puppet lock. Like your Grand Guignol could have sent like a Saranir, dump a Retribution. Retribution adds back a Branded Fusion card to your hand or a Branded Opening. You can also make different fusions. Like you don't necessarily have to do this exact combo, but I hope I could show you how Lubellion being able to just put the Albion into grave and get yourself a Branded Lost all in one Branded Fusion activation, and then Cartesia being able to dodge the imperms, but also being able to just like make a Grand Guignol, which is a crazy new card. I hope all of this still showed you how much more powerful Branded became. Don't forget, Grand Guignol in our graveyard here also means we still have another interruption. So if Tearlament starts playing in our turn, tries to special summon stuff, we can still just go, okay, here's a Quirites, here's a Proskenion, just free from having Grand Guignol in our graveyard. So yeah, Branded got way better. I hope this was clear to you. Let me know if you still have any other questions. Are there other videos you want to see? Maybe other combos, maybe other gameplay? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Pick up your playmat at zerodamagegaming.com using the code Solemn, and I will see you soon. Ciao.